So hi everyone, I'm Maria,
I'm Karlee.
and we're delighted to be with you this morning to spend a few moments together talking about the notion of transition. Um, I know that that's an area that's been deeply in your heart for quite a long time
Yes.
now, and we're coming together as a positive psychologist and
A health and life coach.
to really explore how we can manage our transitions with perhaps a little greater ease and a little bit increased lightness within ourselves, because Lord knows we've all had transitions that didn't go very
Yeah.
well, right?
Right, that were a little sticky or a little tricky. Even the ones we might have wanted for ourselves. I've come to find they didn't always bring the ease I thought they would, even if it was something that I was looking forward to.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking about that on the way to driving here this morning about when my first child was born, my daughter was born. I was so happy to have a baby. And the first week it was just rampant with disappointment because I was in physical pain. She wasn't sleeping. She wasn't nursing well, and I thought that was going to be a transition that was going to be awesome, and instead it was like really hard. And that notion of disappointment, the difference or the distance between what I had expected and what was real.
Yes.
And the disappointment embedded in that. Don't you find that that's like one of the things that makes transition hard?
I feel like it's the root of the cause of most of my suffering, is the difference between where I am and where I feel like I should be.
Okay.
Like that gap.
Right.
Yeah, is that tricky piece. So what do we want to offer around that? What can we share?
Well, we were talking earlier about what happens too around the holidays, especially. We've all just come through the big holiday swath of the end of 2016, and I don't know about you guys, but not everything went perfectly well, and the beginning of 2017 turns out is full of some things that are looking good and some things that aren't looking so good. And so I think we do want to offer maybe a little guidance around how to hold what's real in transition.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I know part of what we were talking about many times, and this is something Maria has shared with me and I've come back to again and again in tricky moments of transition, is that concept of and. This concept of feeling more than one thing at once and giving myself permission to be there. So permission to pause and acknowledge the suckiness, right? Acknowledge when something just isn't the way I wanted it to be.
Right.
So not to glaze over it. This isn't unicorns and fairy dust and just peachy, everything's wonderful.
Right.
I think we're adults and we can handle the fact that
Right.
life is more complicated than that. But to be able to acknowledge more than one emotion at once can reside within me. So I can be, and this I'll speak very personally, because this holiday season brought for me two big extremes. I had the loss of a dear loved one just a couple weeks before, and then I welcomed my first nephew 2 days before Christmas. So it was very circle of life moment, and these happen to be extreme examples, but the ability to feel both, to feel the loss and the disappointment and the love and closeness of my family all at the same time. So that three-letter word, again and again and again, has brought such connection back to me. So rather than feeling scattered or crazy because I could have many emotions in one day, acknowledging that they all exist within me at the same time and that I'm capable of holding that container,
Right.
is really unifying.
Right. Yeah. And so to just make it concrete, it can be as simple as I'm disappointed and I'm looking forward to starting the day over again. I'm feeling sad and anxious, and I know that I have strengths. The holidays didn't go well for me, and it really is the beginning of a new year, and every day is an opportunity to choose something that lifts or strengthens me. So to really live into and statements begins to take away the stickiness of disappointment and help us hold it while moving forward in a way that serves us. This notion of the end is not new. It actually comes from, in the business world, from some work done by Collins and Porras around companies that were able to navigate environmental stressors and move from good to great. But it also comes, from the spiritual and wisdom traditions. Pema Chodron talking about how things come together and they fall apart, and then they come together again. So not staying stuck in the state of disappointment.
Yes.
Honoring it, acknowledging it, facing it, not
Mhm.
denying it,
Mhm.
not negating it,
Right.
and taking a step toward something that offers perhaps a little bit more enlivenment or capacity to manage the tension around the disappointment. Does that make
Yes,
sense?
that makes sense. Does it make sense to you? That would be the question. It certainly makes sense to us
Right.
and for the people that we work with. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had a question you wanted to offer those of the who were listening about the and.
Yeah, I would be really curious to know. I think Maria and I both would be curious to know, what is the and in your life right now? What is the perhaps there's a transition that you're going through. What's the thing you could lean towards that would flesh out your capacity to navigate something that might be in a state of flux or in a state of change? Post a comment. We would love to read them and to interact with you around this conversation.
And this notion of the and is just the first teaching or technique that we're here to offer you. Karlee and I are going to be offering these explorations into the territory of transition once a month for about the next 6 months, as we're heading toward actually offering a workshop together at Cropalo in Lenox, Massachusetts, on navigating a graceful transition. So more to come.
Absolutely. We look forward to connecting with you, and let us know what areas of transition have come up for you, and can start some conversation around that.
Excellent. I know too that I think one of the things that we've both come to understand through our experiences, particularly of loss, the disappointment of loss, is that every day is filled with the potential for sorrow, for sadness, for disappointment. And every single day is also filled with the opportunity to create something that's a little bit more kind,
Yes.
or compassionate, or self-loving toward oneself. So I think that might be our wish for you today.
Well said.
See you next time.
See you soon.